There are hundreds of thousands of high school basketball players across the country looking to play at the next level. The truth is, many of you are relying on your high school coach to help you get recruited. In this video, I'll go over 7 characteristics that if your high school coach does not have, you are on your own in your recruiting. Before we get into the 6 requirements your high school coach needs to have in order to get you recruited, let's first talk about what you need to do as an athlete. You need to perform when the lights are bright. You need to put in 100% effort and have a great attitude, and you need to take care of business in the classroom. If you are not doing those things, the best high school coach in the country and a master recruiter will not be able to get you to the next level. So for you, you always have to control what you control and take care of business. Okay, with that out the way, let's get into what your high school coach needs to have in order to help you get recruited. Number 1, they need to have an understanding of the eligibility center rules. So the eligibility center rules, formerly the clearinghouse rules, are simply requirements that the NCAA has in place that allows you to play any sport for the NCAA. For example, there are core GPA requirements. You have to have a minimum 2.3 GPA in order to play for the NCAA. Now, I know what you're thinking. That's pretty low. Yes, it definitely is low. But it also only takes into account your core classes. So math, reading, history, science. Those are your core classes. That PE class that you got an A in and you took it 3 times in high school, that grade does not count towards your core GPA. So the NCAA Eligibility Center does not include that when calculating whether you're eligible or not. Now, since 2020, the NCAA has got rid of the SAT, ACT test requirement. So that's good news for most high school athletes. But you still have to have that minimum GPA. So that means and not only do you have to have that minimum GPA, but you also have to hit a certain number of those core classes. I believe that number is 16 at the time of this video. So for example, here's why it's important. For example, if you go into high school and you are behind in math and you don't get to start out in your regular scheduled math class that most high school students would start out at, you have to take a remedial course, an intro to math class. That will not count towards the NCAA Eligibility Center courses that will be accepted because it is below a high school level. And that matters because in high school, usually you take 1 math a semester. So unless you're doubling up, you will never hit that requirement limit for math courses. So it's important that your high school coach understands this and is in communication with your guidance counselor to make sure that you are eligible at the end of the day. Number 2, your high school coach needs to have an understanding and high-level connections in AAU. Why does AAU matter to a high school coach? The fact of the matter is that most college coaches prefer to attend AAU tournaments over high school basketball games. Why is that? Because if I go to a gym over the summer, there's a good chance I might be able to see many recruits in 1 block of time, as opposed to going to one high school game where I'm going to see maybe 1 or 2 recruits and then have to drive across town to see another game and hope that they don't start at the same time. So it is not a secret anymore. AAU is here to stay, and it is a big key to players being able to get recruited. Why does your high school coach need to have connections? Your high school coach needs to have connections because most AAU programs work based on connections. Usually it's a local high school coach that is coaching the team, no matter what level it is. And that high school coach, guess what they want? they want their players from their high school team to get first dibs on the position. So if your high school coach does not have any connections, no matter how good you are, sometimes you will be out of luck when it comes to getting into that high level program. So it is very important that your high school coach be tapped in and connected into the world of AAU, because playing high level basketball over the summer will be a key to getting you recruited. So, questions to ask your coach based on these two simple traits. One, you ask your coach, do you understand the NCAA requirements and the NCAA Eligibility Center rules? If they say yes, you ask them to explain more, and you ask them, do they ensure that all of their players are meeting those eligibility center rules? Question number two you should ask them is, what AAU teams do they generally get players on during the summer? A lot of them might say, oh, well, we stick together as a team during the summer. And that's fine, but you also need to play outside of your team during the summer, unless your team is playing on the circuit, which is highly unlikely that a high school team is playing on the EYBL circuit or the UA circuit or the Adidas circuit. Highly unlikely. So ask your coach what connections they have, what tryouts they can get you in, and what teams you are most likely to be able to make during the summer. The next thing your high school coach needs to have in order to help you reach your maximum recruitment opportunities is they need to understand the skills that are required at your position at the next level. And this is so important because if a high school coach puts you at the center because you're 6'2" and you're the tallest player on the team, there is no way in college are the college coaches looking for a 6'2" center. Your high school coach needs to have an understanding of what skills a 6'2" player needs to possess to go play at the next level. And most of those skills will fall into the point guard role. Now, understand the combo guard is very important in today's game, but at 6'2" and the way size is trending in college, you need to be able to pass the ball, not turn the ball over. You need to be able to create for others, and you need to be able to knock down shots and defend other guards. If your high school coach doesn't also put you in the position to bring the ball up, knock down shots, guard other point guards, then they are setting you up for failure. Okay, so not only do they need to understand the skills that are needed to get you to the next level, they also need to put you in position to display those skills that are needed at the next level. And this is critical. So a question you might ask your coach is, where do they see you playing next season? And what skills do you need to work on in the off season? What role will you play in the offense? What role will you play on defense? And then you need to ask them as well, what skills do they need to show next season in order for you to start getting looks from colleges? And all of those skills should align. If they tell you, well, on our team, we're going to look to post you up a little bit. We'll look to post you up, and we have Johnny that will bring up the ball. And so you'll post up, and then because you're strong, we'll probably have you guard some of the centers. And then you ask them what skills are needed to get to the next level. And they tell you, oh, well, you need to be able to bring the ball up the court and guard point guards. You notice your role on the team and your role that you need to play in order to get recruited do not align. And when it comes to recruiting, make no mistake, it is about your skills. Okay? It's not so much about your role in the team, because when you go to college, your coach will have a different system, and they will probably rely on you to fill those traditional roles that a college two guard or point guard will need to fill. So it's very critical that you ask these questions and have an understanding of this. And your coach needs to have an understanding of this in order to set you up for success. The fourth thing your high school coach needs to have is they need to be able to be honest with you about your current recruitment. So many high school players across the country are simply misleading their players, or they're flat out lying and telling them that, oh, you have some interest from this school or that school, or this D1 school is about to offer you, when it's simply not true. A lot of these coaches do that because they use it as a recruiting tool to get you to come play for them or to get you to stay put. The way to counter and get to the bottom of it is you need to ask your coach what specific schools are looking at you, and can they show you text messages? Can they have the coach call you? Can they have the coach send you an email? How pretty much show you some proof that you actually are getting recruited, and not just take their word for it. And this is not easy for some coaches because they may see something in you and they don't want you to get discouraged. But it is very important that you have a clear understanding about where you are in your recruiting. If you have 0 schools looking at you, you need to know it. Why do you need to know it? Because maybe it's a effort thing. Maybe it's an exposure thing. You have to go to more team camps, or you have to get on a better AAU team, or you have to reach out to schools more on your behalf. Maybe you have to send some more emails, fill out some more player applications on the college websites. Either way, your high school coach needs to have the courage to be honest with you about what schools are interested and what schools are not. So it's very important that it's starting your junior year, maybe even after sophomore summer, early junior year, that you have constant communication with your coach about where your recruitment is. If they say currently you're not performing and there's 0 schools looking at you, that is actually good feedback. Then that starts up the conversation about what you need to do in order to get recruited, and can they help you at all? All right. But good high school coaches will be very transparent about each player's level of recruitment, and they know who is trying to play where and what your expectations are. Good high school coaches will also be transparent with your parents. If your parents have a question after the season, not after a game, but after the season or before a season, what should be your expectations as far as recruitment? High school coaches should be able to tell you, these are the skills you need to work on. These are the skills I'm seeing. Here's the feedback I'm getting from coaches. All right. So it's important that you ask these questions and not let the season go on or the off season go on without letting your coach know that you are very interested in where you are at now as far as your recruitment. So now, if your coach knows what skills are needed to get you to the next level, they give you the opportunity to display those skills, and they're honest with you about their recruitment, the next thing they need to do is hold you to that standard and that expectation. What does this look like? In practice, if they know that you're trying to go play Division 2, Division 1, even Division 3, they should not let you put in anything less than 100% in drills. If they know that your goal is to play D2 or D1 as a point guard, when you turn the ball over, good coaches will give you feedback. It may be corrective feedback, and they may tell you what you need to do in the future, or they may just point it out and say Division 1 point guards do not turn the ball over 5 times in a quarter. Whatever that it may be, a good coach will remind you of that standard you have set. So it's a two-way street. If you're going to ask your coach, hey, coach, what's my recruiting look like? Hey, coach, are you reaching out on my behalf? A good coach will also remind you that in order for him to reach out to schools, you need to hold up your end of the bargain. And they will not let you bring anything less than your best effort to practice and in games. They will also hold you accountable in film sessions and in high-level games where the lights are the brightest, because honestly, that's what matters, is that you perform when you're playing against the highest level of competition. And good coaches know that. Good coaches will not hide you from pressure. They will actually look to put you in big game and high pressure situations, because that is what's needed to show that you can play at the next level, where your decisions will impact the future of the coach you're playing for. So good coaches hold their players accountable, especially if they are trying to play at the next level. So, questions to ask your coach: what type of feedback should you expect when you make a mistake or you're not holding up your end of the bargain? Are they going to hold you accountable? Are they going to yell at you? Are they going to let you figure it out? Either way, this is something you need to communicate to your coach and let them know that you're all in on making it to the next level, and give your coach the green light to hold you to that standard. Because if you have a coach holding you to that standard the whole season and the off season, that is going to make you better. And that's also giving you a real picture of what it's like to play college basketball, where if you, the starting point guard, turns the ball over 10 times in a game and you lose the game, the coach is not only thinking that you need to get better at your role, he's also thinking, did he make a mistake recruiting you? He might also be thinking, is his job on the line? So there you have it. Those are the 6 things that your high school coach needs to do in order to get you recruited. Let me know in the comments, is your high school coach doing what he needs to do, or is your high school coach a dud and not helping you at all? Let me know. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more recruiting videos and expert tips from True Level Hoops. Thanks for watching. Respect the game.